Now is the turn of Sezin Kete, which topic is called Amen. Amen Ahmad. Yeah. Okay.
For this season actually. Topic name is Amen Ahmad. Also, I will open the videos. Maybe you can help me.
What?
I will open the videos also.
Okay.
Maybe you can give some introduction.
Ahora. Yeah, I don't know if that.
We can stop now.
Yeah.
How will we?
Look for this.
It's okay. Hello, welcome for everyone. Today we will talk about the management. If you want, before giving presentation about it, I will explain. Like, we manage one documentary, and I was member of this documentary as producer in Turkey. And our documentary name is Management. After I will explain that to you properly, but I wanted to show you first trailer of the documentary, and after that you can have an idea about what we will talk about.
Ne okuyorsun dedi bana. Orman mühendisliği okuyorum dedi. Yapacak başka bir şey bulamadın mı dedi.
Ormanın içinde dolaşacaksın. Ormanın içine dalıyoruz. Her tarafını dolaşıyoruz.
Sonra kafamı kaldırdığımda bir baktım önümde ayı.
Yılan var, yaban arıları var, domuz var.
Hayvanlara zarar vermesek bize bir şey yapabileceğini düşünmüyorum.
25, Gürgen 16.
Tüfekle kovalanmışlığımız falan çok vardır köylüler tarafından.
Bingöl'de o zaman elimizde kumpaslar var, yani çapları ölçmek için. Onları silah zannediyorlar.
Ormanları yok ediyorlar ve orayı fındık bahçesi haline getiriyorlar.
Yorgunluğu oldu, acısı oldu, sızısı oldu ama bırakmak fikri hiçbir zaman aklıma gelmedi. Başka bir iş yapabileceğimi düşünmüyorum.
Yes, it was trailer. Now we can continue. Okay. First of all, we need to talk about aménagement. What is aménagement? Aménagement actually is a French word, but it's meaning management and planning. In Turkey, in forestry, management and planning being fulfilled inside of the one department, and we are giving that name to this department, aménagement, planning and management in the forestry department. What is the purpose? Purpose of the aménagement is to determine the value of the forest by periodically representing the forest depending on the tree spaces, diameter, rows, and density. Also, other purpose is determine surface area, tree spaces, stand type, age, and bony type in the place. First of all, we need to explain that how it is working, this job is working in Turkey. Government want to learn about their revenue of the forest in the area of the Turkey, like forest area. And for this reason, they are opening every year tender bid, and so many forest companies joining this tender bid, and they are taking some specific area from the Turkey. And every year, they are taking some engineers to work in their companies. And after that, by measuring density, thickness, tree spaces, they are trying to find revenue of the forest. With the management plans, it's also decided whether a region is a forest or not. Management works differ according to regions: wildlife, wetland area, seed stand, gene conservation forest, and production forest. And for this reason, I put some photos from the video, from the documentary. Like in wetland area, there is some another management plan. In plantation site, there is some another management plan, and in wildlife, they are choosing some another management plan. Being a forest engineer in management, there are some duties and responsibilities as forest engineer in this field. First of all, before getting inside of the forest, by using ArcGIS, we are taking samples from the forest, like we are choosing some specific place in the forest. It's depend on, if it is selective forest, between the points, between the sample area, gap is 150 meters. If it is not selective forest, this interval is 300 meters between the points. And by using GPS, every engineer inside of the forest, they are finding points and they are measuring the area depend on the density of the samples. To determine the area size of the determined points depending on the frequency of the stand. While working area, like they are trying to find a point by using their GPS, and when they find point, they will measure the area depend on, and they will create some diameter in the point, and they will measure all trees inside of the diameter. And after that, by taking all samples from forest, they are using inductive method to find revenue of the forest. Difficulties. For forest engineer, there are few difficulties in this job. First of all, stress of making mistakes. When forest engineer make a mistake while they are measuring the area, in the area, if they are forgetting to take even one tree, they have to pay 50 euro as punishment to government, because it's so important to, when they forget just one tree in the one sample, it's becoming in the hectare like 25 trees, and it's creating so much, it's creating trouble in the measuring of the forest, and for this reason they need to be careful. Wild animal danger. Because of working in the forest, like we are facing so many times with this problem, these guys are our nightmare, actually. Like one of my friends, while working in the forest, he got attacked by bear and he was almost dying, actually. And sometimes from the rural area, rural residents, people are dying because of bear attack. And for this reason, workers and engineers living some trouble, actually, as a mental way, they are living trouble to work in the area. Rural residents also another difficulties, because all forests in Turkey belong to state, but rural residents all the time trying to open some land for themselves to create agricultural field, and they are opening area inside of the forest. And they don't want us to measure this area, and sometimes they are attacking also to engineers in the place. Also difficulty of physical conditions in the work, like they need to walk in the forest, and it's not easy to work in the forest, like walking, trying to find points is really hard. Sometimes engineers are have to walk in this kind of place, this kind of gap they need to pass in the forest. Being female forest engineering and management. Normally, I wanted to show videos from you, from documentary to you, but we don't have so much time, and for this reason, I will just directly translate what they were talking about as female engineers, because they were living some trouble also in this field, because 5 years ago, there were no women engineer in this field, because people were thinking women cannot do this job. And after slowly companies couldn't find any engineer to work in this kind of job, and they decided to take women engineers also in this field. There are 3 main issues for them. One of them is slenderness, because people are thinking women are not strong enough to do that job, and she was explaining in documentary what she lived about this trouble, because people all the time saying to her she is not strong enough to work in this kind of field, and she was explaining in documentary. Second one, produce. Also, she was explaining us what her family is saying to her. Like she was saying to us all the time. She's hearing some sentence like she cannot do that job because she's not strong enough, and also she's going to forest with male workers and people talking all the time behind of her about this topic. And she was explaining it in documentary also. Also, this woman, our woman engineer in the management, we wanted to make an interview with her, but we couldn't make it because until 7 p.m. she was working in the forest, and after that she needed to go home directly because she needed to do so many housework. Like, even while we were making the documentary, she was talking with her daughter on the phone. Impact of technology, like I will pass this place quickly because we don't have so much time. In the past, this job was fulfilled by 25-meter rope, compass, facet, country maps, and genometer. And it was really hard to do this job in that time. Like, even engineers needed to stay in the forest all the time, and they were coming with their families, and they were living all together inside of the tent. But nowadays, like, people are using, thanks to GPS, actually GPS made this job is so easy. Now engineers are using GPS, cell phone, ArcGIS, and satellite images to measure revenue of the forest. In future, it's expected by the forest engineers in documentary they were explaining us. In the future, maybe they will use drone and artificial intelligence even instead of GPS, cell phone, and this. They are thinking maybe we will not need to go to forest to measure area. They were talking. Now they are using drone, but it cannot be used in all management works. Result: there are 3 results. It's seen that employment in this field will decrease in the future due to the convenience brought by technology. Also, forest engineers don't want to work in this kind of job because it's really hard, and there is some wildlife danger, and they're scaring to get attacked by bear so much, and they don't want to work, and it's really hard to work in the forest, and they are not taking enough income from this work. After documentary, we realized women are living some trouble in this work. We explained that just before, and I think some work should be fulfilled by other engineers about what they are living trouble, which kind of trouble they are living in this work. Also, another thing, there is a social pressure in rural areas, and for this reason we are not able to, we are living some trouble in the work area, work field, and we are not able to measure area properly because of the rural residents attack. Because of the social pressure, they are all the time disturbing to engineers in the area, and they are not able to, okay, it's done, it's finished. Thank you so much to listen. It's finished.
Yes.